Hi friends, welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Desiree, also known as IAmPoleBunny. As you can see from the title, today we are doing a very casual, very easeful Q&A. I thought it was time for me to come on here and just answer some questions for you all to get to know me a little better. I did ask my friends on Instagram to ask questions like, what are you curious about? What would you like to know? I asked that on my story, so if you're not following me on Instagram, what are you doing? But I did ask everyone on there and I got a lot of questions. I did have to weed through some of the questions because people like to act up, you know what I mean? People love to act up. So some of the things I was like, okay, that's not getting answered. And some of them weren't even questions. I was like, this is not even a question. You just want to show out today, you know? But I did get a lot of questions, however, and I will probably end up doing a part 2 only because there's no way I'll be able to answer all these questions in one sitting. But I am grateful for everyone who asked, and we are going to jump in. Oh wait, before we start, I am drinking Cabernet. I believe it's called 1972. I will add that, you know, across the screen, the type of wine, but y'all, this is absolutely delicious. Not super pricey. Yeah, full-bodied. I am a dry wine type of girl. I'm not Moscato, you know what I mean? I can do Pinot Grigio sometimes, but I am very much about the red, full-bodied, give me dry, and she's happy. So that's what I'm drinking, a glass of Cabernet. Cheers. So let's get into some of these questions, and y'all, I'm going in no particular order. Also, I haven't really reviewed the questions outside of weeding through the inappropriate ones, but I haven't really, you know, mused on the questions in any type of way. So every answer that I'm going to give you is very much off the top of my head, very authentic in nature. I'm not, you know, nothing is premeditated or thought about too much. So let's get started. The first question is, would you mentor someone to help them with their journey? And the answer is absolutely, I do. So if you visit my website, www.sugarandsage.org, and you check out the About page, I do have a book a mentorship consultation button there. I will also link it in the description. I am big on alignment and I'm big on resonance. So us being able to align with each other, you feeling like I can fully support you and I'm feeling like I can fully support you, you know, just having a beautiful energy exchange. So I do require consultations first when it comes to mentoring, just for that particular reason. No other reason other than the fact that I want to make sure that we align with each other and that we both feel that we are being fed energetically. So the option to book a consultation is there, and then we can chat further. Next question, and this is a question I get all the time, y'all. How did you start your brand? For those who may not know, I am the creator and guide of Sugar and Sage. It started, this is such a what do you call it? This question has so much depth to it, right? It's such an expansive question. But I began Sensual movement essentially through pole dancing. I've been a pole dance instructor since 2014. So about 8 years, no, 2014 to 2022. What is that, 6? Oh yeah, about 8 years. And I took my first pole dance class in 2013. And I just fell in love, you know. I am a mom of 2. I don't know if that's one of the questions, but I feel like that's a question in here. But I'll go ahead and say that. I am a mom of 2. And when I first started pole dancing, it was just a few years after I had my daughter. And I was like, I want to feel something, you know what I mean? I'm trying to feel sexy again. I'm trying to feel, because at that time, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it wasn't about sensuality for me. It was very much about me feeling sexy, right? Which is 2 completely different things. I like to look at sensuality and sexuality as sisters holding hands, but they are not the same person, right? So I was very much like, let me get sexy. I want to feel myself again. And at the same time, I wanted to get my body, you know, tighter. I just had my baby. And so I took a pole dance class, and it was beyond what I thought, because at that time I was already taking like CrossFit and spin classes. So I thought it was just another fitness class. I didn't think, I mean, I knew I would feel sexy, but I didn't think it was going to be like that. I didn't think I was going to feel the things that I felt. So fast forward, I continued to teach and hold space for so many women. I've taught so many classes and workshops, and I've worked with so many women over the years. And there was one thing that I found that everyone had in common, and that was that we were all here to heal from something. You know what I mean? There was healing happening on various levels, but everyone was healing essentially. And so I was like, okay, I want to go deeper. In the space that I was teaching in at the time, so this was now around 2017, the space that I was teaching in just wasn't conducive to me being able to support women the way that I wanted to. And I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to work a little bit more one-on-one. I still teach groups in virtual sessions that are group sessions. However, I just wanted to go deeper. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I want to expand beyond. I feel sexy when I'm, you know, twerking, I'm doing my thing. That's good. We love that too. But how can we go deeper, right? There's more to this. And so I started incorporating my crystal healing practices, which is like yoni egg practices and things like that, along with my movement. And I was like, oh shit, this is good. You know what I mean? Like, this feels good. This feels right. I'm healing. I noticed that I'm softer. I noticed that I'm more in my feminine. I noticed that my confidence was lifting, and I was feeling myself differently. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't performative at all. It became very, very authentic and embodied. And I was like, other women need to feel this. Like, they need to feel this shit. So I ended up talking to my sister, who's she has a degree in marketing. She's very, very good with marketing and branding and things like that. And so I kind of, you know, talked to her about it, essentially pitched her, you know, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing and what I'm thinking of creating. And she was like, yeah, you know. And truthfully, she supported me at the very beginning with kicking it off, with coming up with the name. And it was just something that I knew had to be out there. But this was the kicker. I had no reference. There was no other business like mine out there, so I had nothing to look at or reference, and that was the challenge. I was kind of entering a world that are walking on a path that hadn't yet been paved. So that's where that's where the challenge came from, and that's how I started. I just kind of jumped out and said, I know that this is valuable. I know that it's helped me, and this shit has to work. It has to, because it worked for me. And I decided at the beginning when I launched my business that I was going to operate in a state of flow, and it was that was it. I was like, you know what, I'm not forcing shit. I'm going to flow through this, and I'm going to make this happen. And Sugar and Sage has been beyond my dreams. I wouldn't have never thought that, yeah, at all. So that's how I started. I was just like, we need it. So if you have something that you're like, the world needs this, just do it, because you never know where to go. And my thinking at the beginning was, even if I affect one woman, 2 women, I've done my job. You know what I mean? And now it's been 3 years. No, I started Sugar and Sage in December. I created the name December 2017 and really kind of fully launched in February of 2018. And I've worked with hundreds of women at this point. I've traveled to teach. It's been beautiful. I've been featured in different things. It's just been amazing. So do it. If you're thinking about doing something, just do it. Okay, next one. This is interesting. Are you from the Caribbean? If so, where? No. You know, I get that a lot. Like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm just from Dallas. I was just born in Dallas, Texas. So I'm a Southern girl. Yeah. I'm not from the Caribbean, and I don't know where that comes from. That's so interesting to me. Next question. How do you stay soft? Ooh, that's a good question. You know, I think it's a practice. Like anything else, you know how you can practice yourself into a hardened heart? Like you could have been through so many different experiences to where your heart only knows how to respond that way. That's a practice. I think it's the same thing for softening and allowing and really operating in a space of flow. It's a practice. So it is not something that I woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna be soft. And then it just kind of dropped on me. No. And I will say this too. I know that there are a lot of folks out there who will say like, oh, I've always been soft. I've always, not this one. To be honest, I come from a very hardened space, right? That's why I know it too well. Like if I see it more specifically with my clients and stuff, I'm like, oh no, I see you. I see you because I've been there. You know what I mean? I know what that's like. And I know how hard it is to soften. You know, I know how much of an act of resistance that is. I've been through some things, so I understand what it's like, and I understand how at times you can feel like it's survival, you know, or it's a defense mechanism to say, hey, I have to keep my guard up and I have to be this way. But for me, it just wasn't serving me. And to be honest, I don't think it really serves anybody in the long run, right? So I did decide, you know what, I want to explore softening, and I used my practices and my rituals to do that. So things like sensual yoga, things like my yoni egg practices, these things that I offer essentially with sugar and sage are things to support you in softening, to remind you that you have access to soft energy, that these are things that are built within you, and it's your birthright to allow, right? To surrender in these spaces, that you don't have to walk around hard. We're still strong and powerful in our softness, right? And that the world can make you believe that you have to be strong all the time, and you have to, no, you can feel. I said it. You can feel, and you can be in your body, and you can explore pleasure and the joys of life and just existing and being in this present moment. Yeah, so honestly, me maintaining softness just has a lot to do with my rituals. It has a lot to do with my intentions for the day, and me carving out time to tend to my soft, sensual energy, right? So if you're looking to soften more, I would say practice it. So notice times when you're kind of holding tension, and maybe you're being a little hard, or maybe your reaction is not in alignment with the soft energy you would like to embody. Practice it and call yourself out on your own shit. That's helpful too. Be like, okay, you're being hard today. Call yourself out, and then when you call yourself out, pivot. Okay? Next question. How did you get into yoga? That's kind of similar to how I started my brand. I started yoga, again, I started as a pole dance instructor. And then while I was teaching pole, of course you stretch and all of that before class. And I just became obsessed with the flex part of, you know, of my teaching. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting more flexible and all of that. And then I was incorporating so many rituals, because at that time I was trying to go deeper and expand in my relationship with my femininity, right? And I was like, wait, there's a practice already out there, right, that can support me. And so I started researching yoga a little bit more. I was getting more into my spirituality and reimagining what that really meant for me. Like, what do I really believe in? What is true for me? And so I started exploring different things like Buddhism and Hinduism and Taoism and Tantra and all these different things, right? And when I started exploring these things, and this is back 2016 through 2017, like up in that space. And I was like, you know what? I kept coming across yoga. That was everywhere. Everywhere I was reading was about yoga. And so I started practicing on my own and just kind of exploring at home. And, you know, I was like, wow, this is a beautiful practice. And then I decided to start introducing it to my classes. So I would introduce it at the beginning of class just to see everyone's response and how they felt. And I would call it Sensual Flex at that time. It was like a sensual flexibility class, or our session within the pole dance class. And everyone loved it. And then so when I launched Sugar and Sage, or right before I launched Sugar and Sage, I deep dived into yoga, launched Sugar and Sage, and that became a part of what I was offering. I was like, oh, I have to offer this, you know, because it is a way to support those who want to ground and to slow everyone down and to explore flow within stillness. It was just, it allowed me to be more expansive in my offerings. So that's how I got into yoga, and it was something that has been so supportive, or it is something that has been so supportive in me dealing with anxiety and stress, because running a business is hard as shit. Running a business is hard, as well as being a mom, you know, so I'm all these things at one time. I'm still a daughter, I'm still a sister, you know, so there's a lot of things that I have to handle, and yoga is the one thing that keeps me anchored. So that's how I got into it. It essentially came from my relationship with pole and sensual movement at that time. And because I wanted to be flexible. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I wanted to be flexible, okay? I was like, I want to be able to split. I want to back bend, like, and I knew yoga would be supportive with that. So someone else asked, what got you started on this journey? I answered that. Who's your favorite artist? Ooh, I'm guessing maybe music artists, because I'm tapped into all these little genres. But music artists, oh y'all, that is tough, because if you know me, I am obsessed with music. I am obsessed with sound vibrations. I listen to more music than I watch TV. It's just, music is my life essentially. Favorite artist? I can name some that I'm listening to currently. That's what I'll do, because it depends on the mood, right? Like, it depends on what I have going on. My favorite artist currently is Cleo Soul, for sure. Erykah Badu is a forever my favorite artist. I listen to Erykah Badu once a day. Erykah Badu is my favorite. I love J. Cole, his music. I love Jill Scott. I love Yeba. I believe I'm pronouncing Yeba or Yeba, but I believe it's Yeba. I've been listening to her song Distance in heavy rotation. I love Jerome Thomas. Yeah. And then I have a few jazz artists that I love. Y'all, like, I can be here all day listing things, but I love like B.B. King, and I'm an old school girl. I still listen to Maxwell, y'all. Like, I am still there. I also love poetry. So favorite artist currently, if I just had to sum it up on an energy level, my favorite artist of all, not of all time, see, this is a lot. One of my favorite artists of all time is Erykah Badu. I am an Erykah Badu stan, okay? And Cleo Soul right now, she just, every fucking song, I'm like, feed me, feed my soul. So that's favorite artist. Okay, so I was also asked, how do you stay so joyful and at peace through life? That's similar to the soft question. So I would say it's the same thing, just practicing, being mindful about, you know, the present moment. As long as you're dropping into the present moment and exploring or expressing gratitude, joy comes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost instant. You can't be in a space of gratitude and not be in a space of joy, almost. To me, they're hand in hand. Like, once you feel grateful in that moment, that little moment, that's joy, you know? So again, practicing, being mindful, meditation. And meditation doesn't just have to look like, you know, an easy seat, or what we call in yoga, sitting, you know, with your legs crossed and It doesn't have to just look like that. It can look like you walking down the street and you just noticing the sounds that you hear, the sounds of nature, you taking in the sights around you. What do you smell? You know, awakening your senses, using them as anchors into the present moment. That is how you operate in a space of joy, peace, and gratitude. Do that by bringing yourself into this moment right now. And then even asking yourself, you know, in moments when you feel anxious and overwhelmed and maybe, you know, life is kind of getting to you a little bit, because it happens. Let's not get it twisted. Yeah, I am joyful and I'm peaceful and I'm all these things, but I'm also very human, meaning I have my days, I have my moments where I have to go, Desiree, wait, like, what is this? You know, what are you feeling? What are you grateful for? So I'm not immune to the ways of the world and things that happen at all. I'm not always at peace. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I have my days, okay? My household feels it, right? So it's okay, and it's very human to have these experiences. You know, we ebb and we flow. All we can do is to try to remember the beautiful things about life, you know. But y'all, it happens. Another question: how was your childhood? Ooh, another expansive question. My childhood was childhood. I'll go deeper into that, I think, in another video. Yeah, I'll go deeper into that. Okay, so someone asked more about sensual flexibility. If you're a beginner, would you say one-on-one sessions or the velvet room? So with sensual flex, I would definitely say, depending on your flexibility goals. So if you're someone who's looking to just enhance mobility, like you just want to, you know, feel a little bit more mobile, and maybe a little bit more flexible, but you already have, you know, kind of an access to flexibility, because there are beginners who have some access, and you just want to move on your own time without any, you know, like without any support, then the velvet room is perfect for you. And if you don't know, the velvet room is an on-demand space that is a part of my site, and that space is where I am guiding you through sensual yoga experiences, pleasure rituals, breath work practices, things like that. But again, it's on demand. So similar to how I'm talking to you here, except we're doing yoga and we're stretching, we're doing all kinds of things. So that's what that is, and that's what, you know, she's inquiring about. So you could use that as a beginner and it'd be perfect. Now, if you're looking to have support, meaning one-on-one support, where I am actually looking at you and saying, hey, I'm adjusting you, or I'm supporting you in that way, then you would want to, you know, inquire about a one-on-one session, especially if you are someone who's looking to expand on flexibility in that way. Meaning, if you really want to get, like, say you're really trying to tap into your splits, right? There are so many different muscles and joints that you're dealing with. There are so many different adjustments that may need to happen. And there's also emotional support that may need to happen to get the body to open up. So a lot of times trauma, things like that, live more specifically in our hips. So when one is trying to expand on flexibility, even though you feel that you have the muscular access, it could be energetic as to why your body is not fully opening, and that's where I come in to support you. So whether we are dealing with the physical body or the emotional body, having someone to support you is always going to be, I mean, it's just always going to be better. You know, I'm not even going to lie. Like, it just is, especially if you want to go deep, then yeah. And I will link that in the description as well if you were looking or interested in booking a one-on-one session. And I also offer consultations for that as well. So you can book a consult and then we can chat further. Okay, next question. Where were you at 23? Y'all, where was I? 23. I'm 32 now. So this is 9 years ago. So this was in 2013. This was in 2012. That would have been 2012. Look, at 23, I was working in corporate. corporate as a human resources associate. So I dealt with HR. I used to hire and fire for a well-known software company, and or a tech company essentially. But yeah, so that's what I was doing at 23. I was working for this company and hated it. No. No, I did though. I didn't like it. I was doing that and teaching pole at the same time, or starting pole. Yeah, because by the time I quit there, I was already teaching. But I had started pole dancing, and I do remember being at work and everybody was like talking about me because it's like, oh gosh, she's on Instagram. And at that time I wasn't even showing skin like that, but people were just so upset. Okay, they weren't feeling me there. I stayed in trouble, but but yeah, so that's what I was doing. I was working in HR at 23 and taking care of my babies. My daughter was only 2 at that time. So I had a small baby, and my son had to have been, because he's 14, almost 15 now. So he was like, yeah, like my kids were young. So I was just being a mom, going to CrossFit classes, and you know, that was it. My life was way different. You know, if you would have known me then, I don't think you would recognize me now. I don't, you would be like, who is this person? So that's where I was at 23. I got another mentorship question. Again, that'll be in the description box. Just want to watch and learn. Okay, so somebody said they're just watching in. Let's see. So another question, I think I may make this one the last one, and then I'll just end up doing like a part 2. But this question is, at what point did you choose to put yourself first and indulge in self-care, self-love? I chose to put myself first the first time that I took a pole dance class. I think that's when I made the decision. No, you know what? Actually, I want to correct that. Because when I took that class, I thought it was no different than me taking my CrossFit class or my spin class. So I didn't feel like it was an act of anything. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, ooh, I'm choosing me. It didn't feel like that at that time. I chose to put myself first. This is going to sound extreme to some. When I quit my job and said, I'm done. I'm not gonna work in corporate. I'm going to get a big ass tattoo on my arm. I am going to teach sensual movement for a living. And that's what I'm gonna do. Everybody thought I was crazy. Do you know what I mean? Everybody thought I was crazy. Yeah. So that's when I chose to put myself first. When I was like, you know what? No, I can't live my life like this. I'm not happy. I don't feel like I'm living in purpose. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy. So I chose to put myself first then, and I've been putting myself first ever since. I will tell anyone that you are a woman before you are a mom, you are a man before you are a father, you are whatever, you know what I mean? You are you before you are anything else. So you can't pour from an empty cup. Matter of fact, you shouldn't even be pouring from your cup. You should be pouring from your overflow. So if you recognize that you are still pouring from your cup and that you have no overflow, then that's the time to start prioritizing yourself, right? It's just, it matters. It matters. And sometimes choosing yourself, I actually just wrote about this on Instagram yesterday, but choosing yourself can be an hour a day. It can be 10 minutes a day, you know, where you say, you know what? No, right now I'm gonna take some time for me. Like, choosing yourself doesn't mean, it doesn't have to be to the extreme like mine was, like you quit your whole job. But it can be like, hey, I'm gonna carve out this 30 minutes today, and that's that on that, you know, like this is what I'm gonna do so that I can nourish my body, or so that I can slow down and take in everything around me, you know, or things like that, whatever it is, so that I can meditate, I can move. Sometimes choosing yourself is taking a class, you know. Take that class you've been wanting to take, or you know, cook that meal you've been wanting to cook. For some people, it's, you know, it's reimagining the way they eat. It's whatever it is, you just choose to say, you know what, I'm gonna start, even if it's the smallest movement, right? If it's the smallest, you know, where I'm shifting things slowly to choose self, let me take baby steps, and that's okay. So for me, yeah, that's when I chose to put myself first, is when I said I'm done. That's it, you know? So yes, there's tons of other questions, and I will answer them in part 2 because this is already really long. If you have any questions or are curious about anything or would like for me to chat about anything, just leave it in the comments. I do read the comments. So feel free to leave it in the comments, or you can send me a message on Instagram, anything like that. Like wherever you find me, just leave me a message and let me know something that you would like to know more about, and I will do another video.